If you are thinking about moving to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, you are definitely not alone. I work with a lot of different people who are moving to the area from out of state, whether it be for a permanent move for retirement or a more temporary second home type move. Either way, what I found is a lot of people who are not from here find certain facts about this area to be interesting. So today I'm going to talk about some of those things. Now, I don't think any of these things are going to completely turn you off from wanting to move here. Most of them are just fun, though some are a little bit more serious. Hey, welcome back, and if you're new here, my name is Nick, and on this channel I talk about things to do here in Myrtle Beach. I give tips and advice about the area, and I'm a real estate agent, so of course I talk about the real estate. So if you are thinking about relocating to the area, then be sure to hit the subscribe button down below and tap the little notification bell while you're at it. This way you can be the first to know about what's going on here in Myrtle Beach. I get calls every single day from people just like you who are moving to the area, so if you ever have any questions or if I can help you find home here at the beach, then I would love to chat with you. You can always use the first link down in the description to schedule a call with me. So the first thing you might find weird about living in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina is that you can drive golf carts on the roads here, and not just within your community streets. You can actually take them out onto main roads where the speed limits are less than 35 miles per hour. Now, there are some other rules, like you do have to be licensed to drive. The golf cart does need to be registered. You can only drive them on the streets during daylight hours, and you can only take them up to 4 miles away from your home. Again, a lot of people find this funny and interesting, but the golf cart life really is a way of life here, and you'll find people taking them to the grocery store, to restaurants, and even to the beach. Now, another weird thing about living in Myrtle Beach is that it's not totally abnormal to see alligators here during your everyday life, whether it be on the golf course, swimming in a community pond, or even crossing the street. At Huntington Beach State Park, down in Murrells Inlet, there is a road that splits a marshy area before you get to the beach, and it really isn't weird to see alligators on the road here crossing from one side of the marsh to the other. And if you have a pond in your backyard within your community, there's probably a 50-50 chance that there's an alligator in there. A few days ago, we were down at my parents' house in Murrells Inlet, and we were hanging out on their back patio, and we were looking at the pond and we saw an alligator swimming back and forth. Now, this does freak a lot of people out, but really if you leave them alone, they'll leave you alone. Really where you need to be careful is when you're down at the water's edge and not paying attention. But again, it's really just about being aware of your surroundings. I always tell people that every area has its own scary animals, insects, or reptiles, and ours just happens to be alligators. We have some family that lives up in Asheville, and a few weeks ago we were visiting them, and up there it's pretty common to see bears, whether it's when you're driving on the road or out on a hike, or even right at your back door when you're taking the trash out. And to me, that's a bit more scary than the alligators. Now, we just talked about two fun, weird facts about living in the area, though the alligators might be a little bit scary to some, but this next fact is going to be a little bit more serious as it has to do with property taxes. Something that shocks a lot of people is that there are two different tax rates whether you own a home here as a primary residence or as a second home or investment property. Now, this is weird to a lot of people because most other states do not have something like this. In fact, I think the only other state that does have something similar is Tennessee. So if you're planning on buying a second home or an investment property in the area, this is definitely going to be something that you want to look into and make sure you have all of the information. I talk a lot about the property taxes being low here in Myrtle Beach, but really that is for a primary residence. As for a second home, those values for property taxes can be 3 times as high, sometimes even more. In order to classify a property as your primary residence, you will need to fill out an application and qualify by having your car registered to that address and having your driver's license at that address. Also, more recently, you will need to be able to show that you're filing your taxes annually from that same residence. The next weird thing is that living in Myrtle Beach can feel like two totally different places depending on the time of the year. Now, this change isn't as dramatic as it used to be because more and more people are starting to live here permanently. But in the summer months, we still do have millions and millions of people that visit each year. Again, when I moved down here 8 years ago, the winter months felt like a ghost town. I don't think it feels that way anymore, but you will certainly notice more people here during the summer months. Certain areas definitely experience this more than others, and you can feel more of a dramatic change. So if that is something that you're worried about, you can definitely avoid those densely populated tourist areas during those summer months. There are plenty of other things to do and restaurants to eat at outside of those tourist hotspots. Now, some other things that change during the summer months that you might find weird are certain business hours and beach rules. A lot of people ask me about restaurants and businesses completely closing down in the winter months, and though some of those tourist hotspots most are not going to completely close. For example, in the winter or off-season months, a restaurant's kitchen might only stay open till 8 or 9 p.m., whereas in the summer months, they might stay open till 10 or 11 p.m. This is obviously going to vary establishment by establishment, but it's definitely something to remember depending on the time of the year. Not only will restaurant hours change in the summer months, but beach rules will also change. Now, every town or beach is going to have their own sets of rules, but here are some examples. Myrtle Beach and Surfside do allow tents in the off-season months, but Myrtle Beach in the summer months from May 15th to September 15th, you're not going to be allowed to have tents. Only umbrellas will be allowed. During the summer months, rules about having pets on the beach will also change. Some beaches will not allow pets at all during the summer months, whereas in the winter they do. Using Myrtle Beach as an example again, from May 1st through Labor Day, pets are not allowed on the beach from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Outside of those hours, they are allowed. So before heading out to the beach, make sure you check your local beach rules. And if you want to learn more about living in Myrtle Beach, then be sure to check out this pros and cons video right here. If you learned anything new from this one, go ahead and hit that like button down below. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.